Hello everyone, this is Leah Whitehorse from Leah Astrology, and in this recording I'm going to be talking about Mercury Retrograde. So yes, it is that time of year again. Mercury entered the shadow zone on the 19th of February 2019. And he will station retrograde on the 5th of March 2019. The entire retrograde period will take place in the sign of Pisces. And this is a sign that Mercury finds a bit more of a struggle. Mercury travels very, very close to the sun. So the sun is our ego. And so Mercury, in some ways, I kind of think of him as a little bit like a protector of the ego. You know, Mercury is our rational and logical mind, whereas the sign Pisces is all to do with the irrational, or what appears to be irrational, and the unconscious. The unconscious doesn't really speak in words. It can use words, but there is far more meaning than just the literal meaning that Mercury will understand. So we have this whole kind of unspoken language of Pisces and Mercury, who is trying to translate all of this material, and so he struggles with that translation. So our thinking when Mercury is in Pisces can sometimes be muddled. Those of you who have your Mercury in Pisces in your natal chart, you don't need to panic, you don't need to worry or take offense at what I'm saying here, because Mercury in Pisces in a natal chart can certainly give a wonderful imagination, a wonderful imaginative way of speaking, of expressing yourself. That is the gift of Mercury going through Pisces, because sometimes we need to put aside that logical, rational part of ourselves and enter into this world that is just full of the unknown, full of uncertainty, full of these magical images that arise up from dreams, that they sort of come from music. When you listen to music, it evokes some kind of feeling in you. It's when you read poetry, it's when you're dancing and expressing yourself through your body's movements. It's through a photograph that stimulates some kind of thought or even a conversation that maybe wouldn't have come in another way. The language of Pisces is rich. The language of your and our imagination is rich. There is so much content there, but it's also often the content that we ignore, that we push aside, because sometimes it's unsettling what we find deep in the unconscious. In the same way as sometimes our dreams at night can wake us up in the middle of the night. If you're having big dreams over this period, like dreams that have these archetypal characters, gods and goddesses, myths, all of those kinds of dreams, pay attention. If you're experiencing nightmares, pay attention. Nightmares, I'm not including if you have PTSD, for example, those kinds of dreams that you have after a traumatic experience have a different quality to them and need to be treated in a different way than if you are dealing with just sort of nightmares. So if you've had some kind of traumatic experience, a terrible accident, something awful's happened to you, and you are having continuous dreams over and over and over again about the same thing, it's best to approach someone who is a professional in dealing with that, because you look at it in a different way than other kinds of dreaming. So that aside, for everyone else, that I think it's very important, especially during Mercury retrograde in Pisces, to really start to listen to what your unconscious mind is saying. So yes, this is about keeping a dream diary. It's also about being mindful in the daytime and noticing what dreams are coming up, what daydreams are coming up. Where is your mind wandering to? Where is it going? What is it you're thinking about, dreaming about, idealizing about? Mercury is going to station retrograde on this very, very sensitive degree, the 29th degree of Pisces, which sometimes can overreact, can be super sensitive. The Sabian symbol of this degree is a majestic rock formation resembling a face, is idealized by a boy who takes it as his ideal of greatness, and as he grows up, he begins to look like it. So we've got this Sabian symbol that is talking about ideals and the concept of idealization. So maybe at the beginning of this retrograde period, we need to be looking at what we are idealizing or who we are idealizing. Because when we have a certain ideal, a certain vision of how things should be or could be, then we kind of mold ourselves to that shape, or we try to. The problem is that if that vision is completely unattainable and unachievable, that we've kind of lost the connection with reality, which is also possible sometimes in the sign of Pisces, then we end up distorting ourselves. We're not living authentically. We're not expressing ourselves authentically. So it's very important during this retrograde period to really consider what it is you are idealizing, what you have great hopes for. The theme of great hope is running through this year with Jupiter square to Neptune. So we've already got that going on, and this huge sense of wishful thinking. And that's all very well and good. We have all got this wonderful imagination, which I mentioned before, but sometimes the imagination can send us on a wild goose chase. It's like, trying to find the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and the more we keep chasing it, the further away we get from ourselves. The gold is within. The gold is always within. So the beginning of this retrograde period is kind of characterized by this idealization, the concept of idealization, and maybe there is also some sort of disappointment as well, because remember I said about this 29th degree of Pisces is a bit super sensitive. One of the shadow sides of Pisces, it's a wonderful sign. It's so spiritual and creative and compassionate and kind and charitable. These are all the wonderful features of Pisces. The negative side is giving up, hopelessness, apathy, can't be bothered, sometimes just tired. Just today we've had the very, very sad news. Sad being Pisces. Pisces is a very sentimental sign. It's ruled by Neptune, the ruler of the oceans. The oceans has a great deal of salt water, so sometimes Pisces under Neptune can be connected with tears. So we've got sad news. News is Mercury, of the death of Keith Flint, the lead singer of The Prodigy. And it was announced by the band that he has taken his own life. So this is the most extreme of Pisces, of completely giving up, completely surrendering to a point of erasing oneself. I'm going to say it now because, what better time to say it when Mercury is in Pisces. I talked about how Pisces can be about sort of charitability and kindness and compassion. If you need help, ask for it. There is no better time than Mercury being in Pisces and Mercury retrograde in Pisces. It's important during this transit to silence the mind so you can hear what the unconscious is saying. It is not about suffering in silence. Please don't suffer in silence. If you are struggling, you can't cope, you don't know where to turn, even if you think there are no answers, and that might be something for all of us during this period, that in some way all of us are coming across something where it doesn't seem like there's an answer. And, this is the trick of Mercury. Mercury is the trickster, the tricks of the mind, where we think there's no answer, so there's no way out, and we feel trapped, and we just feel like, there's nothing we can do. And so if you're feeling like that, the best thing to do is to ask for help, ask for further information. Sometimes you even need to just put aside the idea that there is an answer, and just kind of allow yourself to be in the moment, because the present, the here and now, is the only thing that truly exists. You are here in the present. That's the art of mindfulness. Grounding yourself. Remember, grounding yourself is really important, because we are in these incredible tidal waves of Pisces. And so therefore we need an anchor. You need to have a rock. You need to have that grounding. So silence the mind, still the mind as much as you can, but do not suffer in silence. Ask for help. There are multiple agencies and charities where you can go at any time, day or night, or access any time, day or night, by the phone or by the internet. Reach out. Pisces is a sign about merging, the invisible thread that connects all of us. We are all connected. You are an integral part of this cosmos. You're connected to everything that is on the other side of the universe. There is something that connects all of us. So even though sometimes we may feel alone, all at sea, out there in the middle of the ocean, an ocean of tears, an ocean of our own tears, even though we feel alone, we're not, we're still connected. And that's the important thing to remember. Maybe that's what we're trying to remember whilst Mercury is retrograde in Pisces, that sense of connection, because sometimes that's exactly what it is that's been missing from our lives. It's not that it isn't there, it's just that we're not feeling it because we're so busy with work and family and kids and bills and money and internet and social media that sort of pretends to be connected, but it's not really. We're kind of lost. And so this Mercury retrograde in Pisces is giving us an opportunity to reconnect with ourselves, the voice of the unconscious, the inner self, the voice of the soul, the voice of your God or your goddess or whatever it is you personally believe in. Maybe it's time to reassess your spirituality, your sense of spiritual connection. Perhaps it's just not felt there recently, in which case, pick up the phone, speak to your God, goddess, deity, whatever it is you personally believe in, or just your higher self if that doesn't do it for you. There is an answer there. There is something at the end of the line that will connect with you. But sometimes we have to open the conversation. Sometimes we have to be quiet enough to listen to what the universe would like to impart to us. So it is important to make time for reflection, make time for you, make time for your feelings. One thing I didn't mention earlier is that when Mercury stations retrograde, he will be conjunct a little asteroid called Lunaria. Lunaria is actually a name of a plant, and the common name is honesty. So this is interesting, the play on the words, because Lunaria comes from Luna, which is about the moon, which is about the feelings. And so we're talking about honesty, about our feelings, getting honest with our feelings. And it seems as though the way this is going to happen, or the way this needs to happen, is to really get beyond that voice of the ego and get down to what is going on an unconscious level, what's really happening, you know, what is the subtext here. Mercury is actually going to link together in a conjunction with Neptune 3 times because of this retrograde period. The first time was on the 19th of February. So it might be helpful just to have a look back at that date, to reflect back, think about what you were doing, what you were thinking, what was going on, what kind of decisions you were making around that time, because that might be important. It might be connected with what's going on around this Mercury retrograde period. The next conjunction between Mercury and Neptune, the retrograde conjunction, will be on the 24th of March. And then the final one will be on the 2nd of April. So that's when we get some kind of resolution. Again, it's bringing up, because Neptune is the ruler of Pisces, it's bringing up all the similar kinds of material. We're talking about what is going on in the soul. What does your soul say to you? What does spirit say to you? What is the universe trying to say to you? The first aspect, in fact, that Mercury is going to make once he's stationed retrograde is on the 14th of March. He's going to trine the North Node. So it's almost like this is like the cosmic gateways are opening if we're willing to listen, if we're open to listening. So watch for synchronicity, you know, those little strange things that happen, or slips of the tongue, or overhearing a bit of a conversation, or you turn the TV on and they say something that just strikes you, that you kind of know means something. Finding meaning is also a big one with Neptune being involved, because Neptune is about finding those things that are meaningful in our lives. And if we've lost the meaning and, you know, lost the plot kind of thing, then this is the ideal period where, once again, you can reconnect to that sense of meaning. You can find out what is truly meaningful. Sometimes when we have, going back to the idea of a vision, an ideal, sometimes if we're too invested in that ideal, it doesn't allow for any kind of organic growth in our lives, because we're so much sticking to the picture that's in your head. You know, it's like, if it's not like that, then I don't want it. If it's not like that, I'm not going to work on it. It feels too stagnant sometimes. So we have to allow the sort of vision, the dream that we have, we've got to allow it to live and to breathe. Mercury rules the lungs, so you need to allow your dream to breathe. You need to allow your dream to have a life of its own. Allow it to evolve, rather than just kind of sticking to one way that it must be. And if it doesn't happen that way, then, you know, you kind of feeling really flat and upset and disappointed and let down. And, you know, this is when we feel like life has just kind of passed us by, or we feel like life has let us down, because we've just not allowed for that idea or that ideal or that dream to live and to grow. Mercury will also be squaring Jupiter, because we've got that Jupiter square to Neptune going on. So that's also going to happen 3 times. So we're being told here we need to look at where our judgment, Jupiter, has been kind of stretched out of shape, where we've misjudged a situation. And instead of feeling like, you know, oh my God, I'm a terrible person because I misjudged the situation, it's really just acknowledging, okay, I misjudged this didn't work, it wasn't as I thought it was. And once you do that, then you can get the picture clear again. You can start seeing things clearly again. Mercury is also going to be sextile to Pluto and to Mars as well, and to Saturn. So there's 3 sextiles here. So Mercury sextile Pluto, 16th of March. Mercury sextile Mars, 18th of March. Mercury sextile Saturn, 20th of March. So these sextiles are invitations. They're helpful. Mars is your energy and your drive. Mercury sextile Mars, whilst Mercury is in the sign of Pisces and retrograde, is kind of saying, okay, maybe you need to hold off on your actions, Mars, until you can trust what your intuition is telling you. If you can trust what your intuition is telling you, then that will guide your actions. In other words, you'll know what you need to do. Mercury sextile to Pluto has that kind of feeling of focus. Pluto is very intense. Pluto zones out the other stuff. It's blinkered, but this is like a positive blinker. Sometimes you do need to shut out all of the distraction, which is very, very Pisces and Neptune, nebulous stuff that's just floating around. It's like, oh, shiny, pretty, you know, and that's it. Your focus is gone. So Pluto is like, hey, we've got an invitation here to hone that focus by getting rid of all the fluffy distraction that you don't need, so that you can concentrate on what is important to you. And then Mercury sextile Saturn is approaching things with a mature mental attitude. It's also strengthening the mind, stabilizing the mind, once again giving you an anchor of some kind. You can anchor yourself by doing disciplined work. I would say also give yourself time to allow yourself to just kind of drift. Maybe, you know, have a daydream hour if you want, something along those lines. You need to find the balance. We are naturally more distracted during this period, and we do need to devote time to our spiritual and creative lives, because that's the nature of Pisces and also the Neptune effect. But with Saturn being there, he's kind of sort of saying sometimes we also need to pay attention what's going on in the outside world and with our responsibilities. And sometimes when we feel a bit lost, they can anchor us. It's like, yeah, I know I need to go to work at a certain time, and I need to complete this task, or I need to complete this essay at a certain time. And that can just give us a bit of an anchor. So Saturn is sort of saying, you know, I invite you to use me, to use my sensible approach to help you whilst you're perhaps feeling a bit lost and don't know what's going on at the moment. So we're starting to get some grounding with Saturn being part of this picture. And all of these aspects, all of these transits, are really saying we can create something very beautiful from all of this muddly mess, whether it's something on a personal level or whether it's something on a collective level, because all of us are experiencing this. We can create something extraordinarily beautiful from these aspects, but we need to just listen to ourselves and also listen to one another. The Sabian symbol for the sun's meeting with Mercury, so this happens halfway through the Mercury retrograde period. This will be on the 15th of March. The Sabian symbol as a religious organisation succeeds in overcoming the corrupting influence of perverted practices and materialised ideals. Well, that's certainly been in the news lately with the whole thing that's been going on with the Catholic Church and, you know, interfering with children and so on. So that is perhaps going to be an ongoing theme as far as the collective is concerned. But on an individual level, this Sabian symbol talks about how when you come to a point where you have more faith in yourself, in the world, whether that means a specific religious practice or just personal faith, you know, whatever you find meaningful, when you have that, that can help you to overcome toxic relationships or toxic thought patterns that keep you stuck in a world that is not ideal for you. Pisces is also a sign that is associated with things like self-sabotage, which can also be a kind of toxic pattern. And the self-sabotage comes from hidden motivations, comes from hidden material that's in the unconscious. So it suggests that this Mercury retrograde period is also a time to be working with those kinds of themes, looking at where you hurt yourself, where you sabotage yourself, where you stop yourself. What are the thought processes, and what are the beliefs as well, actually with Jupiter involved. What are the beliefs involved here that mean that sometimes you end up working against yourself? And this would be the perfect time to look into the practice of self-compassion. Check out some videos by Tara Brach or Kristen Neff here on YouTube. They can give you lots of material to work with so that you can actively learn to create an inner voice that is kind and compassionate, instead of berating yourself for doing the wrong thing or thinking that you said the wrong thing or whatever it is. These are the ways that we can sometimes self-sabotage. Mercury will station direct on the 28th of March, and the Sabian symbol will be an Easter parade. So therefore, it suggests that by the end of this transit, we've come to a place where we have greater faith, where we believe again, and where we have a sense of being reborn from this great womb-like sea, this cosmic womb-like sea of Pisces. It is almost like a mini period of gestation. So give yourself time, allow yourself just to go with the flow and feel the tides. Let yourself sleep, let yourself rest, be creative, do whatever it is to get in touch with that deep soul voice, because we're coming back to the light. We're coming back to a point of faith and hope and belief. The Sabian symbol of the Easter parade also brings up another story, that of the Christ figure. I'm not a Christian myself, but I'm just thinking about the story. The idea behind it was that Jesus died for all of us to save our souls. So he's a martyr figure, in other words. I think one of the things that many of us are struggling with at the moment, especially those of us who are very, very sensitive, is that the world just feels completely out of control. There is so much violence, there's war, there's just anger and hate and all the toxic stuff and all the bad stuff. And in the face of that, it can feel like anything that we do is just a drop in the ocean, and it's not making any difference. And so therefore, maybe we are questioning what we're doing, whether we're doing enough. But I think the important thing is that firstly, we acknowledge that as individuals, no one of us can save everybody or everything, but collectively we can. So if you are feeling as though it's pointless doing anything, just know that, whatever it is you do, whether it is a donation to a charity, donating goods or money, or whether you're taking in a lost dog from the streets, or, fostering a cat from a cat's home, or you're raising money for your local hospice, or whatever it is you're doing, the recycling, choosing your fabrics of your clothes carefully so you're not contributing to the plastics problem, or even just, using things that aren't plastic, whatever it is that speaks to you, whatever it is that most moves you, knows that drop in the ocean is creating a ripple, and that ripple will join other ripples, the drops in the ocean cast by other people, the collective. Slowly over time, the drop in the ocean becomes a ripple that then becomes a wave, a tidal wave of change. It is possible for this world to be a better place, none of us should lose that vision. The possibilities are endless. We just need to apply ourselves in practical ways and in ways where we're not losing ourselves, nor are we trying to escape from the problems, because that's also the other side of Pisces, that we want to kind of stick our head in Netflix the next 5 hours. You know, a bit of escapism doesn't hurt anyone. It's when we're losing ourselves and becoming apathetic because we think what we're doing and who we are doesn't matter. It does matter. And this Mercury retrograde is going to help us with that, to help us to identify what matters most, what is most meaningful to us. And that's the way we can collectively be reborn again. This concludes my commentary on Mercury retrograde. I hope you found it helpful, and I wish you many blessings on your path.